what I did for work was anything that would keep me away from the house.
Because if you're at home, you got to be working more.
You had to work for work for dad and mom, you didn't get paid. But if you had a job working for somebody else, you got paid.
One of the things, we never got an allowance.
What's an allowance?
Yeah, what's an allowance? We had friends that got an allowance. They'd get $2 a week, or we'd say, "What's that for?" "What's my allowance?" And
You don't get an allowance?
we never got an allowance. When we were little, we would take in Monroe, we would take the produce from the garden and wash it up and put it in the wagon and sell it in the neighborhood. We'd sell, what do we sell? Tomatoes and string beans and peas.
Probably squash.
Yeah, squash. Yeah. We were probably, when we lived in Monroe, we were 7, 8, 9 years old. We moved from Monroe when I was turning 11.
And I was
9.
Yeah, I was going into the 4th grade.
In Ogden.
Yeah, I went to 4th grade in Ogden.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
first, second, third. So
We only lived in Ogden for a year, and we helped the neighbor, again, Brother Randall, with his farming. And that's I don't remember earning money. Did you pick cherries or anything?
it seems like I picked cherries.
Yeah, there were fruit trees along the bench there in North Ogden, and we could go pick fruit. We weren't very good or very fast because we were pretty little. But we did hay. We were good at that because Paul was so strong.
We had experience.
We had experience.
We had experience of that up in Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah, well, working with Uncle Vernon and Grandpa Walker. So that's kind of, we did hay for Brother Randall. But then when we moved to Richmond, we moved there in June of 1957. That's when we moved there. I was just turning 12 in July.
That's when I was going into the 5th grade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's when he broke his arms. And
before I even got to school.
before the week was over, before the first week was over, my dad had found a paper route. Jerry Miller did the Salt Lake Tribune. It was a morning route, and there were 2 routes in town. So Jerry wanted to quit. He was my age. He'd been doing it for a few months and didn't like it, and
Had to get up in the morning.
I had to get up in the morning and be over there by 6 o'clock at least to start the route. So we got that.
The delivery truck out of Salt Lake dropped off our papers at 6 o'clock in the morning. And they expect us to be there to pick them up when they were hit the ground.
Yeah. You could hear that truck whining as it came up the road. It had,
Here a mile away, here when we went past the high school down there.
yeah. And then we'd hurry on our bikes and get down there to meet it. So they'd throw our bundle out. Well, we divided the route into 2 because Paul took the east half and I took the west half. And then a few weeks later, Lanny Johnson, who had the south half of town, gave up his route and we took it over also. And so we kind of divided it out. Mine was 4 miles. And it worked pretty good if your bike was working.
If you had a flat tire and had to push your bike, though, it made it a long route.
We didn't have a compressor at home. They had one down at the gas station right by where we picked up our papers.
And the guy there was really nice because I'd get a flat tire and he'd let you come in and take your bike apart and fix it yourself. Wouldn't charge anything.
Yeah.
So we got to learn how to do that because you get quite a few flat tires.
Then they decided Mark was old enough, this is a year or so later, that he ought to be doing some papers also. Mark, he was really smart and genius. And we went out in the morning to get our bikes, and neither Paul or I had a bike that would work. And here Mark has a new bike of parts that he'd taken from these two bikes and made himself a bike. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I had to walk my route 4 miles, and Paul had to walk his. And so we were after Mark by the time we got home, because he'd gotten down there, got his papers, and was gone, out of sight. And